Hi, this is Andy from Svija. I'm going to show you how to make a pop-up window. In this case, we'll be making a pop-up window with a grill of dates for our coming tour. So the first thing to do is add a link into the main page. So we're going to go into page and we're going to add, first of all, I'm going to hide the help stuff. We don't need that. Can hide the computer. We don't need that. Actually, I'm just going to hide everything and make a new layer. Pop-up. I like light red when I'm designing. Okay, so see all dates. Helvetica bold. There's an error. And if it was at 600 pixels here, it'd be in the middle of the page. So let's do that. Okay. Then I make a layer called triggers, magenta, and I'm going to make a rectangle. And you might not know this, but if you go under Window to Graphic Styles, okay. And you might not know this, but if you go under Window Graphic Styles, there's a magenta rectangle at 30% transparency that's perfect for triggers. And in fact, you can just type the D key, the letter D, and it will, I'm going to type D right now, D, and it turns into a trigger. Perfect. So I'm going to name the trigger mouse slash all dates. Okay, save page. And now if I go into the site and I reload the page, I have see all dates. I need to add a hand to the trigger so people can see that it's a link. To do that, I'm going to just type /H at the end of the trigger name. That makes the trigger into a hand. So now, see all dates, and the trigger shows up like a link when you move your mouse over it. Okay, so that's it for the main page. We don't need this anymore. We've added the link. Now what we're going to do is make a module for the dates. I'm just going to delete everything. And we don't need the mobile artboard because I'm only going to do the computer artboard one. Okay, so first of all, let's just make a rectangle that will be 1100 pixels by 600 pixels. And we're going to give it a nice color, green, easy to see. We're going to put it in the middle of the page. Oops, sorry. 600 pixels. And we're going to make the top of it 50 pixels down. So it'll be nice and centered, okay? And then I don't know if you know this, but if you go under Object, Path, split into Grid, you can make a grid. It's super easy. It's really fun. And you can get a preview as you do it. So let's see. I want it to look like a calendar, so I'm going to put 7 columns with a 10 pixel gutter, more 20 pixel gutter. And I'm going to put 4 rows. And I'm going to put a 40 pixel gutter in the rows. Doesn't matter for this example. Anyway, so now I have this. I'm going to call it, let's see, okay, it's going to be called dates module. And I'm going to take this opportunity to copy the name because I'm going to need to put it in the settings for the module. Save. Okay. Now I'm going to go into Svija Cloud. I'm going to go to modules. I'm going to add a module called dates module CP. It's useful to put the name of the computer, the screen name, CP or MB, just because it helps identify it when you're selecting it. It's enabled, but we don't want to always include it. We want it to appear when it's popped up, and we don't want it on every page. The Illustrator file is going to be dates module, and instead of attached position, we want floating position. So save. Then we go back to the page. We're going to go to the main page here, and under modules, we're going to add another module, and we're going to add dates module CP. So we save that, and now if we reload the page, we have the dates module, and it doesn't move. And it's a little too big, so I'm going to make it smaller. Instead of 600 pixels, I'm going to make it 500 pixels. So let's see if I reload it. It's behind the header, so I'm actually going to make it even smaller. Obviously, I did not think this through. Save page. The artboard, the top of it needs to be at the top, but the bottom doesn't really matter because there's nothing in it, so I'll just move it up here. Save page. And now if I do it there, it's nice. It looks like it'd be a nice date module. And I'm going to put a black background that's going to cover everything. Actually, this is a good time. It is good to make the page long, and you'll see why in a second. So I make the page long. I'm going to make the background black. I'm going to make the background 80%. Okay, so let's see. Save page. And now, if there was any, here, I'm going to open the page again and put something on it so you can see what that looks like, because you can't really tell. Let's just add, well, let's put the robot back, in fact. Here we go. Save page. That's fine. So now you can see that when the module is here with the dates, it's going to have the content, the page content behind it. So the thing that we need to look at is the name of the trigger was all dates. Okay, so here what we're going to do is we're just going to take everything, we're going to group it, and we're going to call the group toggle / all dates, and that's it. Save page. By default, a toggle goes from off to on to off, so we don't have to specify the transparency or anything. So now I reload the page. If I go down here, see all dates, and it worked. But what I want now is I want to be able to turn it off by clicking anywhere. I don't want to have to click in that same exact spot. So I'm going to add another link in here. I'm going to make a link. Here, let's see, I'm going to take this, copy it, put it in the triggers. 30% transparency. And magenta. And we're going to call this exactly the same. Toggle, mouse / all dates. And this will serve to turn off the rest of the page. So I click save page. Remember, triggers are invisible, so it won't actually look any different. But now, if I click here, I can turn it on, and if I click here, I can turn it off. And I realize, of course, that this trigger actually needs to be inside of the group here. Otherwise, it will be on the actual page. So that was a mistake that I made. The trigger to turn it off needs to be inside the thing that gets turned on. Save page. Reload the page. And now if I click see all dates, I have the mouse that I want. I see all the dates. If I click anywhere on the page, it disappears and I can go back to navigating normally. Very simple. Since I have your attention, I'm just going to mention something. You might wonder why the back of the page is sort of this beige color, and it's because in document setup, we set the transparency grid to be the same color in the foreground and the background. So you can, for example, change the transparency grid to be any color you want. And if you set them the same, then it just gives you a nice working area. And you can go under View, Transparency Grid, which is right here. It's Command-Shift-D. And it allows you to have a different colored background, and it also enables you to see which parts of your page are transparent. So that's all for now. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned something. And feel free to ask us questions on Discord or by email to support@svija.com.